Speculation has been out there the last couple weeks. Did he want out? Did he want to stay? Did he want to go? Well, Nick Robertson has signed a 1-year extension, 875K to remain a Toronto Maple Leaf, at least for now. Your initial thoughts on the extension, Rosie?
Yeah, I just it's odd to me because like this year more than in the past, there seems to be some openings and some holes and some opportunity for Nick Robertson where you could argue last year the writing was on the wall that it was going to be difficult for him to get into that jersey more often than not and to have a full-time place and to be able to get the opportunity to make an impact. And, if his contract was done last year, I kind of would have understood, hey, I'd like to ask for a trade. And, sometimes that gets the fans back up and they're saying, oh, he doesn't want to be a Leaf. That's not always the case. It's actually not very often the case. I think there's nothing more he'd want to be than be a Maple Leaf. But, when you find yourself in a position where, your career's ticking by and you're losing valuable years and you just find like the depth chart isn't in your favor and you look at other teams saying I'd be a full-time third liner, second liner on that team, but here I am kind of buried in this one, that, you and your agent get together and say, maybe we got to ask to get out of here because we can't afford to lose this many years. But it's odd because this year there was opportunity for him. There was writing on the wall that there might be a spot for you. And, Craig Berube has told him and been vocal and public about it. There's going to be opportunity for you. That doesn't mean you're on the team and you're going to play 16 minutes, any of that stuff. It means you're going to get your shot. So I hope he's ready. I hope he's had a big summer. And, it's one of those things where they could ink that deal and, maybe he still gets shipped out. So it's not a guarantee that he's going to be a full-time impact player on the Maple Leafs roster. But as of right now, that's a big step in the direction of that actually happening.
That's exactly what I was going to get to. This doesn't preclude that a trade doesn't happen, whether it's today, 2 weeks from now, before the season gets underway. But I think it sets the wheels in motion for a variety of things. But you have the contract, which I think adds a number. So let's say a team is interested in Nick Robertson. They know what his number is going to be for the season. So I call that a big win. It also tells me there wasn't really much traction. I know people were talking about an offer sheet. I don't think anybody really was that keen to acquire Nick Robertson. Like, now's not the time to acquire Nick Robertson. You're not going to get much value. And that's why I think the Leafs have been hesitant to trade him. From the onset, I felt like it was a weird request because oftentimes, like, we all know, and maybe, this is not public, but I'm sure he wasn't the biggest fan of Sheldon Keefe. Like, sometimes you would know it better than most people. It doesn't work with certain coaches. You would think he would be encouraged or pumped up or fired up or confident that maybe he can change the organization's perspective with a new head coach in Craig Berube. And, it sort of comes out that he was assured by Berube that he'd be given a chance. That's why I thought it was a bit bizarre as to the timing. You would think a player like this would sort of be pumped up, the fact that there's a new coach in the fray here.
Yeah, like I said, it would have made sense for him to, do that the year prior, although his contract wasn't up. So that's why that
Yeah.
didn't happen. But it would have made more sense logistically for it to happen last year, where this year, like you said, it seems like, if he's not happy with his position and with his with his pecking order within the depth chart and the roster and the organization, then you'd think this summer he'd look at it and look at the changes they made. And, you get into August and you think he'd say, well, look at this. I think there's a chance for me to really, plug one of those holes and fill one of those spots and earn a job where I'm a permanent member of the Leafs. And then, I'm sure he believes in himself and he says, I'm going to go and take the reins and do something that says, oh, here's Nick Robertson. He's arrived. We need him. He's part of our, future. But his mind wasn't there this summer, I guess. Him and his agent decided they wanted to, vocally and publicly kind of say that we want. Oh, he didn't do it in any disrespectful manner or anything like that. I'm not piling on him for doing that. But the timing was odd, as this year I think there's more opportunity for Nick Robertson than there has been in a while.
No, that's exactly it. Like, you look at the left side, it's wide open for you. And I think honestly, what happened too is like the player and the agent realized that it made absolutely no sense to miss the start of training camp. Like, if you wanted to hold firm on your requests for a trade, it made absolutely no sense. And they came to their senses clearly, signing this extension with the Maple Leafs, that it made more sense to go to training camp, prove your worth. I think it's a win-win. If Robertson still wanted out or wants out, and he plays well, I think it ups the trade value, and all parties involved are happy. No.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I just trades these days, everyone just wants to snap their fingers and make a trade. But
True.
like,
Yeah.
I'm sure Treliving was working the phones and dropped Nick Robertson's name to every conversation he's had in quite some time, and obviously nothing was made to come to fruition. And that's just because it's hard these days. There's lots of teams that have guys like Nick Robertson, and they're not interested in taking on another contract, taking on another, a player in that position. But, as the chips start to fall and teams start to form and training camp starts to move, maybe something falls into place. But as of right now, I see him, battling for a spot, and, potentially, if that doesn't work out, say they sign a Max Pacioretty, or someone that, or an Easton Cowan just outperforms him, and they feel like one of these guys is better suited for that spot than Nick Robertson, then he might have to go and clear waivers. He might have to go down to the Marlies. He might have to get traded down the road in a different position. There's all kinds of different potential outcomes, but as of right now, there is a spot, he has a contract, and he has to go and earn that.
Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.